Alright, so welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at some brake upgrade, modification, whatever, up here with the master cylinder to replace our old analog brake system. So, it should be a little bit interesting. Alright, so what I ended up getting is I have a brake proportioning valve, and then I have two of these line lock solenoids. And we're going to do some modification to our setup here and get something specialized here for what we're planning on doing. So, what I'm going to do is try to reuse this bracketry that we got down here. This is where the old interlock brake system was. So, I'm going to start off with this bracket and modify a place to mount some stuff. Alright, so we got our brake solenoids queued up in here, and they'll just come right down there where the analog brake system was setting. Keeps that all nice and clean. And now pretty much all that we have to do is bolt everything up. But before we do that, we need to wire up the or rig up the proportioning valve. And for that, we need to fill in this hole that's over here. So I'm going to have to go cut a piece of plate to shove in there, and then go from there. So that's the next step, is cutting a good plate. Alright, so this is what we got going on. We got our diamond plate to seal up that hole, and then we have the proportioning valve set up right there. And it's got the knob inside. I'm going to have to extend that with a threaded rod instead of just the standard knob. I'm going to run that so then I can control that from the driver's seat. I've already plumbed in the line from the master cylinder for the rear. That guy is the that's the rear. So I had to cut off the metric Crossfire end and put on a standard flare. So then all I need to do is run a line from the output of the proportioning valve into, I think I'm going to do this side. Yeah, we'll do this as the rear. So we'll go into that port, and then out from these, any of these three can go out for the rest of it, for the rear. And then for the front, we're just going to put that directly in there. And go from there. Just straight up, rebend, remodify, and we'll just pretty much jack her right back in. So that's pretty much what we're looking at. This guy, we need to probably put a different end on that so I can sit down there. And we'll pretty much almost be set. Alright, so that's probably going to be it for today. There was a couple snags along the way. I need to get a couple fittings for those devices, since that's what I need to convert one style to another. But anyways, I also got some of this neat, it's a copper nickel based brake line. Found that online, so I decided to give that a go. I've kind of played with stainless before, and that's not too bad, but it's kind of difficult to flare. So hopefully this one will be a little better to flare, and still will have the non-rust issue. But anyways, that's the basic of what I'm doing with this thing. Now, if you don't know anything about these line lock systems, essentially what you use them for is primarily it's for like drag racing, to do with the burnout and the burnout box. So that way you apply the brake pressure so your car is completely stopped, then engage the line lock, and then that'll allow you to take your foot off the brake and it'll still hold the front brake on. So then you can work the clutch and the gas pedal to get your burnout. Now, what I ended up doing with this one is having a second one for the rear. Now what that is going to allow me to do is I'll have the front one for the standard just burnout, but I can also then just switch the rear brakes completely off, and then I can leave the front one alone. Then I'll be able to essentially get a burnout going and then be able to modulate the brake as you're going down the road. So essentially rolling burnout. But that's essentially what the concept is. And then the proportioning valve, basically see what we can dial in when we go track racing and that type of stuff. Because, well, who knows how it's going to work with those different discs. And then I can just start mixing and matching brake compounds and that type of stuff and get it dialed in where I need to. But that's going to be it for today. Hopefully sometime this week that clutch will show up and then we can get assembling this thing. So I think I'm only I'll be 5 days. 8. Yeah, next week should be in that 14-day window to get the disc in here. But anyways, we'll worry about that when it actually does show up. And I guess until then, I'll keep plugging away at little tiny things to tie up loose ends here. So thanks again for stopping by, and I guess we'll talk to you later.